What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Hope you are having a great one as always. And today we are looking at something quite a bit unusual for me. We got a 6th scale motorcycle. Now, as you can see, it's already out of the box. I did do a tiny unboxing video for it, but this thing was sealed into its packaging very, very good, with a whole bunch of zip ties, basically making it impossible to easily open. And as much as you might want to watch me rip packaging apart for a couple minutes, I figured we'll skip that and get to the good stuff. Now, if you are interested, the main reason I got this fella, it was $40 on Amazon. With 6 scale motorcycles and vehicles, they are always very, very expensive. So finding something for 40 bucks, even though the quality is not quite what you're going to get out of a real high-end one, it was a steal for me, especially because I plan on painting this guy and just kind of modifying it a bit. So if you are the type that likes kit bashing and that sort of stuff, I would highly recommend checking these out. It's by a company called New Ray Toys. They do a whole lot of cars, motorcycles, all that other stuff in smaller scales, but they just recently started doing 6 scale stuff, and honestly, I'm pretty impressed with it for the most part, especially for 40 bucks. You really can't beat that. So we'll take kind of an up-close look, just in case you were wondering, a little bit about the details and all of that good stuff. Like I said, 40 bucks. Pretty dang good as far as the price goes. They are die-cast in plastic, however, most of this is plastic. There's a few little metal components on the motor, and then down towards the bottom, but realistically most of this is just going to be kind of like the hard plastic that they have there, which for me, fine. It makes it easy to paint, put water slides on, all of that good stuff, so I really don't mind that at all. You do, of course, get movable wheels, which back one's kind of stationary, not too big of a deal. And it does have a cool little chain on it, which I thought was a nice touch. You do get some decent detailing with the motor itself, but again, since these are toys, you do have a whole lot of screw spots on there that you probably don't need. So if you were to modify this, you might want to cover those up. I probably will once I paint it. Might put some sculpting putty over it or something. I haven't quite decided. But for the most part, as far as like a background piece or just a vehicle to have a figure on, this is a pretty good one. Now, it doesn't have any working lights or anything like that, which honestly you could probably expect at this price point. The gauges don't move, which again, kind of expect. Nothing on the brakes. You can't twist the throttles or anything like that. And the mirrors, kind of reflective, but not really. Now, you could, of course, cut into the plastic, possibly put in a working light, something like that. But for the most part, it's basically just going to be kind of a plain Jane motorcycle. It does have a working kickstand, which is nice. And if you didn't know, the reason motorcycles have these, they actually can't stand up on their own because they are too tired. That was a really stupid joke that I learned from a really bad movie. If you happen to have seen that really bad movie, congratulations, and I feel sorry for you. So it does have a cool little muffler, I'll give them that. And you do get a spot there if you want a custom license plate, so that's kind of fun. You can kind of pop on whatever you want. I thought that was pretty dang neat. But for the most part, it's really just kind of something you might get to kit bash and play around with yourself. Or you can even kind of destroy the heck out of this thing if you wanted a cool little background, like having Hulk smash a motorcycle or Superman lobbing it at somebody. Definitely could do some cool stuff, especially if you've got more artistic talent than I do, which is not very difficult. But overall, I was pretty happy with this thing. They do have a whole bunch of different bikes available as well, including a couple dirt bikes. So if you're one of the many people building a nice little Mad Max scene, getting the Raiders and all of that good stuff, you may want to consider picking up one of them for 40 bucks and kind of modifying it yourself, as opposed to dropping the 150 to 180 on one of the Raider bikes. Just an easy way to save money and give you a little side project at the same time, which is never a bad thing. I will do a couple quick shots with some 6 scale figures, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. But for the most part, that's about it. This guy's really pretty basic. You don't have a ton of different stuff with it. It does come with a little base that you screw into the bottom there if you wanted it to just stand upright, which is, definitely handy, especially if you're posing it with a rider on it or anything like that. But realistically, kind of straightforward, kind of simple, nothing too mind-blowing, but again, 40 bucks.
Alrighty, and just to real quickly wrap this on up, I figured I would have Mr. Panda explaining to Naruto just how cheap this 6-scale motorcycle was, and Naruto's freaking out as much as I did.